Turn it back out. These guys are rooting the NBA. Snake man, shout out Snake man. Let's go.
This is Jalen Green, and this is Kevin Porter Jr. They are the backcourt of the Houston Rockets, and both of them are highlight hoopers. They combined to average 41 points per game and 9 assists. That's a lot of offense. Box plus minus is a neat advanced metric that determines how much contribution a player made to their team's offense and defense per 100 possessions compared to an average player on an average team. Essentially, it's a more in-depth version of the plus minus stat while also considering things like points, rebounds, and assists. If the number is positive, that means this player has contributed more than the average player. If it's negative, vice versa. BPM as a stat is something people use when they want to make a point. I'm about to make a point. Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. combined have a BPM rating of negative 2.6. Tyrese Halliburton, starting point guard of the Indiana Pacers, is averaging 20 points and 10 assists. He has a BPM of 7.3. If Tyrese Halliburton halved his offensive output, on paper, he'd still have a better BPM than the Rockets' backcourt. The Jazz's rookie center, Walker Kessler, has a higher BPM. This man averages 7 points. But to play devil's advocate, BPM, like every advanced stat, doesn't take into account the bigger picture. Tyrese Halliburton isn't a fair comp because he's 7th in the league in BPM, so he's dwarfing most players. Advanced stats are bogus at times because Nicholas Claxton is having a hell of a season and he's a good player, but he's not better than Jaylen Brown. So, let's look at the tape.
Are you seeing the improvement that you thought you would see when the season started? There's no improvement.
Yeah.
They got his ass up out of there too. You know what's crazy? Dog got traded to the Clippers. They got him right up out of there. I guess after he said that, it was time for him to go.
They don't look too good.
But he's not lying
Can
though.
we just appreciate the Cavs for a second? I mean, compare this to this. This is how you rebuild with a young core. Not whatever the hell is going on in Houston. Houston is like an AAU team. There's no system, no team basketball, no ball movement, no good shot selection.
I don't know what's that little buffering sound. Is the speaker fucked up or something?
And people want to use the coach, Scott Silas, as an scapegoat. But it's not his fault. This is exactly what the front office and ownership wanted. Sacrifice the team so that a couple of the young guys can just shoot whatever they want and hopefully develop. That is a horrible strategy for development. Don't get me wrong, bad teams will exist. That's the nature of seeding. Someone's going to have the worst record. But you got rebuilding teams with a lot of inexperienced guys who are still getting the hang of things. Take the OKC Thunder, for example.
OKC Thunder, yep.
That's a team that has a lot of young guys who haven't figured it out and are still learning. That's why they're getting clapped. They're letting the youngins go through the fire on D and let them flourish their offensive capabilities. This Houston Rockets team is not that. It's a free-for-all. There is no growth happening. Sure, some players will see a rise in their statistics individually, but it's at the detriment of the rest of the team and their own learning of NBA basketball. Jalen Green and Kevin Porter may look like their stats are rising, but it's just the stats. These guys are not playing NBA basketball, nor are they even attempting to learn it. Empty stats with no actual contribution to the team. It's selfish, and don't take my word for it. Listen to John Wall, who played in Houston for 2 seasons.
Damn, you know it's crazy. John Wall just got traded back to Houston. That's great. After he said all this, they got him back. Oh, I know he like, oh, man.
Like I always talk to Jalen Green, Kevin Porter, the shit y'all getting away with over here, you go to any other teams, you be out the league. I wouldn't play. So I'm trying to explain that to them because they think it's sweet.
And that's coming from a 5-time All-Star who's been on a pretty bad rebuilding team himself. So if he has this to say, imagine what the rest of the league is thinking.
Hey.
Trust me, they know.
And he back on the Rockets. So why would they even like trade for him back after he said that?
You know how that team should be structured.
All praise to number 28. Sengun, he good, man. He good. Yeah.
No. Sengun, yeah.
Structured.
All praise to number 28. Sengun, he good, man. He good. Yeah.
Alperen Sengun shows flashes of brilliance. Something about these foreign bigs, they just play the game fluidly and pass like a guard. If the Rockets utilize him more, we'd be able to see what he's truly capable of. But as of now, it feels like he's being held back so KPJ and Green can chuck up contested 3 balls. Şengün is the only positive on this team currently. I say that because Jalen Green has immense talent, and it's a disservice to how great the guy can be if you don't acknowledge that. He is a natural volume scorer. Players of that nature are going to have high volatility. He could be the next Bradley Beal or the next Jerry Stackhouse. But if he truly wants to elevate his game, this kind of basketball at the professional level can't be tolerated. And in his second year, his feel for the game still hasn't taken the next step everyone expected. He still plays like he's in his rookie season or he's still on the G League Ignite. I mean, you watch him play right now, and then you watch him back in high school, you realize the guy just makes more shots now. His feel is still lacking. His half-court game is still rudimentary isolations and nothing beyond that. He cannot play off-ball, which is absurd considering he's a long athlete.
Nah, that jump right there was crazy. That's crazy. No, that's crazy.
He cannot play off-ball,
come on, bro,
which is absurd considering he's a long
That's crazy.
athlete with verticality for days and is a reliable shooter. And like I said, there are teams who've given their keys to their young guys.
But he's not lying though. Like,
it's currently happening in Oklahoma City.
He not lying though, bro. Like you can't. What the fuck didn't happen again? What they don't know what ad they want to give? Come on, man. Oh man. What the fuck is going on?
By the looks of it, the Thunder will be heading back
that was weird,
to the top of the West in a couple years. After a rebuild that had them set with picks from
some
years
effect like the Grizzlies, okay?
And that charge is being spearheaded by their franchise guard, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I've raved about SGA before, and I've been a fan of the Toronto native since he got traded to OKC. This is the kind of improvement a front office wants to see when they hand the keys to their main guy. You steadily see his numbers climb and his game becomes more all-around. Until you get to the point where you have a juggernaut who's putting up 30 and 5 with 2 steals a game. I believe this is what Houston was aiming for with this current team they got. The problem is, this Rockets team doesn't have the talent or the knowledge that this Thunder team had. Since Daryl Morey's departure from the front office, they've been in shambles. Keeping vets like John Wall to not play him and getting essentially nothing in return for James Harden. And since the departure of Daryl Morey and James Harden, the picks they've made come into question now. I know hindsight is 2020.
They Rockets, the little Shane Yang dude. I mean, he does like he should be like the guy. Like he's gonna be the guy. Yeah, the Rockets, they're nah, bro. They not. I don't know what they got going on. I don't think they're. I don't like the whole idea of tanking. If you watch the documentary The Last Dance, Jordan, they tried to do the tanking thing when he first came in because the team wasn't good, so he's trying to get a couple more. But Jordan's like, nah, I'm just go out there and hoop, and that's what he was doing. The team still was like one of the top teams, if not the top team in the conference. They got put out, they didn't win, but still, like tanking is a mentality at times. You know what I'm saying? It's a mentality in general. If that's what you like to do, then it's gonna be hard for you to see the winning side of things. So stop tanking year after year, trying to get the best people. Like, what are you gonna tank after year? Well, okay, we got him now. All right, you got the player you want, and you still tanking. You see they ain't playing, cause now it's time to tank again. See what you know, like. Was
drafting someone like Jalen Green the wisest decision when Evan Mobley and Scotty Barnes were available? We see how Dave turned out. Green's scoring ceiling is limitless, but he's not the kind of cerebral guy you can just throw into the fire and expect him to make it out. You need to take the opposite approach with a guy like Jalen Green. Take Jordan Poole, for example. The Warriors built him from the ground up. Yes, he came into the league as a shifty score-first guard, but he wouldn't have balanced his game out and impacted the Warriors' championship run if they hadn't taken the slow approach with him. Jalen Green needs to be crafted slowly with veterans who will teach the basics of basketball to a guy who's been playing iso ball since middle school.
But Jay had John Wall, so I'm pretty sure he was talking to him.
Green is a lesser player. No, he's a young guy with great gifts but the factors around him will prevent him from ever being a high caliber guard. He needs guidance from a veteran. Jalen Green needs someone to take him under their wing and show him how to be a professional, or he'll never adapt to this game. If Jalen Green doesn't adapt his game, he won't be able to hold a candle to his peers. Same thing with Kevin Porter Jr. Porter is fun to watch, can't lie to you.
Yeah.
But it feels like all he's had in the past 2 years is that one 50-point game and that one game winner he hit versus the Wizards. The difference between him and Green is the second overall pick. Kevin Porter is not. So he's not going to get the leniency that a guy like Jalen Green will get. That's why I think he really does need to change his game. Because I don't think the way he's playing right now is going to get him anywhere. And I know the man's story and I am rooting for him, but this is just the way it is. So let's hold out that the Rockets can get it right and start utilizing their young, inexperienced roster. I mean, they have 4 solid pieces to build around. So I wouldn't say their future is bleak, but drastic changes need to be made. But don't worry, Houston, you're not alone, because if you head east, the Hornets are doing the exact same thing. This team is like Showtime for 5 p.m. League Pass games. They suck. There was a feeling this would be the case because of roster shuffling with LaMelo being injured and Miles Bridges playing basketball in prison. But no one thought they'd be bottom feeding with the Pistons. This team won 40, but no one thought they'd be bottom feeding with the Pistons. This team won 43 games last year. But they're a little different compared to Houston because they've already shown that they can win games, but they're choosing not to just so they can obviously tank and go for Victor Wembanyama. With Houston, you put anyone in the AAU system and they're going to get torched regardless. But what Charlotte does have is exactly what Houston has, which is a highlight hooper. Specifically,
how much is a Houston Rockets versus or Detroit Pistons versus Rockets? They like $5 a ticket. $10 courtside. The fuck? Yo! $10 courtside
Showing
tickets.
up on the first page of
Houston
Google
Rockets versus
might
Detroit.
not be the best for everyone.
$7 since tickets ain't selling. Look at that.
But for business owners, it is.
Damn, bro, I clicked it. Damn.
LaMelo Ball isn't the kind of floor general ESPN
No, LaMelo actually be hooping though.
Out to be yet. Keyword yet. I fully believe he will reach that status eventually. But right now, he makes too many mistakes, and his playmaking hasn't reached that advanced passer threshold for him to be considered a floor general. His 8.2 assists per game and 2.7 assists to turnover ratio aren't bad, but he's definitely not Magic Johnson. But this is the issue with social media. You can cherry pick exactly what you need that will fit your narrative. The media crowns LaMelo Ball as the next point guard, but not Tyrese Halliburton. And this social media hoopers trend trickles.
Yeah. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton is really, he's really a bucket. If he's averaging 10 assists, he's like that. He's hooping. He's balanced. He's a very balanced scorer. Very good. He's gonna be very good. He's gonna be a top dog. He's gonna be probably top 10 in the league in the next 3 years, probably. I'll give you 3 years. He'll
down to every level.
He'll be about that.
Nowadays, they got kids in the 3rd grade with a mixtape.
Exactly.
I didn't even know they had 3rd graders ranked. But just look at this.
Crazy.
Who wants to see a 3rd grader's mixtape? And this all ties into a bigger point of how diluted the love of the game has become.
Hey.
I don't want to sound like an old head, but it needs to be said. People don't play basketball for the hell of it anymore. Back in the day, kids used to play ball because it was a fun thing to do with their friends. You used to play, and whoever was the best at it pursued the game at a higher level. I won't accuse anyone in particular because I don't want to question someone's love for the sport that they've worked on.
Why you showing, bro? Because when he focused on drip, that little ass short, that short hit, bro.
These guys are professionals for a reason. But as a fan, it's clear that they just don't make them like they used to. Everything feels more glamorized and self-centered, and I think these last couple of years, there's too many guys who all want to be the star. Everyone thinks they're the next Kobe or Steph, and that ideology is apparent when you watch young squads, which brings me full circle back to the Houston Rockets. I'll keep it brief because I've said everything I have to say.
Everybody want to be the star. Everybody want everybody on their meat. Everybody to meet right on there. Everybody want to be the guy. Like, that is not Draymond Green said the best. It's not how you gonna win. Everybody's not gonna be the star. It's gonna be 1 or 2 players who gonna be the main 2 guys, and the rest of y'all gonna find y'all role and do what y'all gotta do.
Do a lot of great things.
Y'all can evolve.
If they realize the greatness is the collective, not the individual. Put down the phone. Stop looking at the camera. These things will blind you. Look at the ground. find the basketball.
Look at the ground, find the basketball. Hey, good vid though, man. Let's go do it for the vid, man.